right? That's why these prophecies are coming to pass, and it's against them, right? It's for their destruction, right? He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And the Negro, Latino, and Native American man shall be rejoicing when they hear that, right? Because that means that they're getting slaves, they're getting these other nations in subjection. And that really pushed them off the curb, right? They was chilling over there, talking bull, you know what I'm saying? Whoa. Just had to push them off the curb, right? He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword, right? So we're not coming in the spirit of hurting people. We're coming in the spirit to and correct people, right? Here is the patience and the faith of the saints, which the saints are the Israelites, right? The Negro, Latino, and Native American, right? That turn back to the God of the Bible, right? Not all Israel is of Israel. And like they say, man, that's why we come in season, out of season, because this work is more than just the summer, right? We don't take breaks, and we get built up even with this, right? We know how to maneuver in this, right? Don't come up with that silly. They come up with the same thing. They say the same thing every time, bro. Every time, bro. Every time. Okay. This is St. Luke 4 verse 51. And it came to pass, when the time was come that he should be received up, he steadfastly set his face to go to Jerusalem, and sent messengers before his face, and they went and entered into a village of the Samaritans to make ready for him. And they did not receive him, because his face was as though he would go to Jerusalem. And when his disciples James and John saw this, they said, Lord, wilt thou that we command fire to come down from heaven and consume them, even as Elijah did? But he turned and rebuked them and said, you know not what manner of spirit you are of. For the Son of Man is not come to destroy men's lives, right, in that time. But when he comes back, he's coming back with vengeance in his heart, right? But to save them. For the Son of Man is not come to destroy men's lives, but to save them. And they went to another village, right? Putting everything under him when he comes back. This is Matthew 8 and 14, right? And in them is fulfilled I'm gonna start at 15. Matthew 8 and 15. For this people heart is waxed gross, and their ears are dull of hearing. Right, talking about our people, Israel. And their cares and their ears are dull of hearing, and their eyes they have closed, lest at any time they should see with their eyes and hear with their ears, and should understand with their heart and should be converted, and I should heal them. But blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. Because what we have the understanding of this Bible, right? When they say that it's hard to understand the Bible, it's because they're blind to it, right? It wasn't given to them, right? Especially these other nations that are non-Israelites, that are non-Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, right? They definitely can't see, right? and they don't want to see, right? For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them. Right? Hear ye therefore the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the kingdom, and talking about the Israelites, because this service of the Most High, as I was reading, is for the Israelites, right? When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom and understandeth it not, then cometh the wicked one and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart. This is he which receiveth seed by the wayside. But he that receiveth the seed into stony places, the same as he that heareth the word, and anon with joy receiveth it. Yet hath he not root in himself, but endure for a while. For when tribulation or persecution arises because of the word, by and by he is offended, right? And we don't want to be offended in this work, right? He also that receives seed among the thorns is he that heareth the word, and the care of this world and the deceitfulness of riches choke the word, and he became unfruitful, right? Dealing with your woman, dealing with work, right? And you let that take over instead of the word. But he that receiveth seed into the good ground is he that heareth the word and understandeth it, which also beareth fruit and bringeth forth some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. Right? So that's what we hope to be, right? To bring in the fruit, right, of the Israelites. So let me go back into what I was talking about before they rudely interrupted me, right? Because we're not out here for these heathens. We're out here for the nation of Israel, right? Yeah, this is Ecclesiasticus, or Sirach 1 and 6. To whom hath the root of wisdom been revealed, or who hath known her wise counsel? And that's clear that they don't have the root of wisdom, right? It was given to us, the prophets of the Lord willing, were accounted for, were a part of that number of the Revelation 7, the 144,000. Of the elect of the nation of Israel, right? But it's been revealed to the service of prophets, right? Which is Amos 3 and 6. There is 7. Unto whom hath the knowledge of wisdom been made manifest, or who hath understood her great experience? There is one wise and greatly to be feared, Yahweh, the heavenly Father, sitting upon his throne. He created her and saw her and numbered her and poured her out upon all his works, right? So everybody has a portion of the wisdom, right? She is with all flesh according to his gift, and he hath given her to them that love him, right? So that's those that follow the law, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. Because without it, you're unwise, right? The fear of the Lord is honor and glory and gladness and a crown of rejoicing. The fear of the Lord maketh a merry heart and giveth joy and gladness in a long life. Right? Whoso feareth the Lord, it shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death. To fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb, right? That's why we have this faith, right? Because it was given to us in the womb, right? That's why we come out and do this work, right? That's why we're not getting confounded in these streets, right? And they cut themselves, right? They bring out scriptures that cut themselves. Whoso feareth the Lord, it shall go well with him at the last, and he shall find favor in the day of his death, right? To fear the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, and it was created with the faithful in the womb. She hath built an everlasting foundation with men, and she shall continue with their seed, right? And that's talking about the seed planted in good ground, right? To fear the Lord is fullness of wisdom, and filleth men with her fruits, right? She filleth all their house with things desirable, and the garners with her increase, right? So that's the Most High giving these things, right? Yahweh giving these things, right? The fear of the Lord is a crown of wisdom, making peace and perfect health to flourish, both which are the gifts of the Most High, and it enlargeth their rejoicing that love him. Wisdom runneth down skill and knowledge of understanding, and exalteth them to honor that hold her fast. Right? Let me check some. Right? Wisdom runneth down skill and knowledge of understanding, and exalteth them to honor that hold her fast, right? And you're not gonna get this, like I said last time, you're not gonna get this from no heathen. You ain't gonna get this from no Edomite, right? You ain't gonna get this from no Caucasian, the Edomites, right? This is only of the elect of the nation of Israel bringing out this truth, right? The root of wisdom is to fear the Lord, and the branches thereof are long life. The fear of the Lord driveth away sins, and where it is present, it turneth away wrath. A furious man cannot be justified, for the sway of his fury shall be his destruction. A patient man will bear for a time, and afterward joy shall spring up unto him. Right, so we gotta be patient, because we know that that these things, this glories, are going to come, right? Right. He will hide his words for a time, and the lips of many shall declare his wisdom. The parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom, but godliness is an abomination to a sinner, right? If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. And that's the point I wanted to get. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. That's why you gotta be built up in this thing. And it's there's levels to this thing, right? You start off watching the videos, and you're like, oh, Yahweh, you gotta write that down, and you gotta remember that, and it's gotta be put into your brain, right? You gotta be looking on it, you gotta remember it. Right, you gotta figure out how to spell it. You gotta then you're watching more and more videos, and then you gotta realize that this is the only thing that's that makes sense in the world, right? And then you get built up, and then you start reading, right? You start at Genesis, and you start reading and going through the books, right? And eventually you'll be out here on the highways and byways, right? But it's levels to this thing. You're not gonna get in this thing in 3 months. The most I can do it anyway, but there's time for it, and there's patience in it, right? Because you're not gonna just peel off that old man in a day, right? The parables of knowledge are in the treasures of wisdom, but godliness is an abomination to a sinner. If thou desire wisdom, keep the commandments, and the Lord shall give her unto thee. For the fear of the Lord is wisdom, and instruction, and faith and meekness are his delight. trust not the fear of the Lord when thou art poor, and come not unto him with a double heart. Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men, and take good heed what thou speakest. Exalt not thyself, lest thou fall and bring dishonor upon thy soul. And so the Most High discover thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation. Right? And that's happened a lot of times, even when I was in the truth. Right? Because thou camest not in the truth to the fear of the Lord, but thy heart is full of deceit. Right? Trying to be a big man in the truth. Right? You just need to know your place. Right? Trying to be an honorable man. You only been in this truth for 5 years. Right? Even though it's been in the truth for 10 years, you know what I'm saying? That's still honor, and they're pushing today, then it's even greater, you know? But if you're gonna be in the truth 10 years and fall out, then it's like you was never in the truth. Right? Right, so this is just the Satan, right? The spiritual demon Satan doing this, putting this cold, because it was warm yesterday. It was warm. It was like 70 something yesterday, and now it's like 30 something, even less than that. It feels like, to me, it feels like 16. Even there was this one time it was colder than this, but I was still out here, right? But that's why I'm probably built up to endure right now. Let me get this one preset. Because what wisdom is going to come from a song? You got to go into the scriptures. These people are just blind and confused, dog. This is 2 Timothy 4:1. I charge